The participants have started coming in, Niranjan, so we'll start now.
Yeah, let's get started.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Today, we are speaking on building a business case and ROI calculation for SAP DevOps. We're glad to have all our participants here. We have two very experienced speakers with us. Niranjan Gattupalli is the founder and CEO of ReleaseOwl with nearly 2 decades of experience in DevOps and SAP. As a firm believer in the power of DevOps, he strives to further the DevOps movement into the SAP space using ReleaseOwl, a native DevOps suite designed specifically for the SAP platform. And our second speaker is Kapil Pandey, an SAP technical architect currently working as DevOps and ALM lead in HCL SAP practice. He has around 18 plus years of overall IT experience, very rich experience, including SAP project management, SAP technical lead, and SAP DevOps SME. So with that, I'll hand it over to Kapil to take over.
Sure. Thank you so much. First of all the people who have joined from all the spaces. Like it could be, I would say, good morning and good evening to everyone. So like today, I'm along with the ReleaseOwl. Going to discuss about the mainly ROI, about the DevOps or ROI and why DevOps is needed. So I'll start with why DevOps and what is the need of it in SAP world. So basically, you would be listening around the Agile is coming up and you might be seeing the Kanban boards and Scrums and all that. So DevOps is the predominantly based on the Agile principle only. So by leveraging it, you could any your partner or your customer can get the high quality applications building, as well as it will increase the speed and the reliability. And other thing is, like, nowadays the buzzword is automation, though automation is happening everywhere, but DevOps principle is automation only. So first is agile principle, that is foundation to further to do a continuous integration, continuous delivery. You need a full stack of DevOps tools. So that is what you might be hearing from everywhere in the SAP world. Like we need DevOps and all that, right? So other than that, collaboration is again the foundation, as I've stated, agile. So we need cross-functional teams working, the in collaborative manner. Otherwise, even if you set up any platform, it will not work. So as agile and calm principles and your collaboration between cross-functional teams. So that is what we will need DevOps to be enabled. And of course, for DevOps to be succeed, we will need again the CI/CD kind of integration with respect to integration, deployment, testing and monitoring. So that is by enabling DevOps, that is what is coming into your organization, right? So Tani, can you go to the next one, please? Yeah. So see, DevOps journey was started with the native products like Java based applications or Visual Basic based application. It was started a bit early, but if you look at the SAP's application, so it's pretty hard to start with because the multiple technologies are involved, and even if you see the code structure of SAP, it is everything is resides in form of database tables, right? Wherein in typical Java and Visual Basic and other products are very much in file system based code and all that. So that is one complexity. Another than that, like it is having multiple technologies. Like at the moment we are saying pretty high level. So, but there are these are the challenges. Other than that, like multiple customer states. Like if you see even if though the SAP is transforming towards the cloud or public or private cloud, but still the lots of stack still remains over the on-prem or somewhere in cloud. And at the moment, a huge transformation is going toward the S4H conversion. It is green or brownfield. And now SAP has come up with the clean core where there the main digital core will S4H. Then you can do the side-by-side extension with BTP. So due to these are the complexity, and systems are sitting in hybrid mode still. And the fourth complex thing is still we have to pick up the right set of DevOps tool set, right? So even if you look at the SAP's the offering as well, SAP is doing lots of acquisition. If you look at, they recently did the Tricentis acquisition, then SignaView is coming into play. Other test automation tool as well as the other tools are still coming up. So that is why SAP's DevOps is a bit hard, but of course SAP is transforming, so this is the best opportunity for us as well to transform along with SAP. So then we'll talk about our offering later on, right? Tanya, can you go to the next one? So, yeah. So still, I won't say SAP is SAP in SAP world DevOps is missing. Some extent it is there. If you look at our case study says still 50 to 60% work is done manual, right? With respect to and this is the space where we to fill in the appropriate DevOps tool, right? So still there are scripts, but very hodgepodge script, like maybe somebody has written some script some point of time to maintain the OS status or database status, but still those are laying at the same status, and scripts are not very straightforward. Okay, and still tasks are pretty repetitive. Like if you see the typical, I will take example of basis architect or basis person or operational people. Still they are doing the transport pretty much manual way, or the alerting and alerting or monitoring, though it's bit automated nowadays, but still some of the areas still manual. If you look at the percentage here, Solman is being leveraged by customers by 30 to 35%, and we know the Solman's capability. Yes, it does cover the their charm life cycle and technical alerting and monitoring framework, but still it is the CI/CD kind of scenarios is still missing. So wherein we need a strong DevOps tool which can fill in the manual space here, which is 50 to 60%, along with the the SAP's is maintenance strategy towards the Solman and S4H. Of course, Solman is still in the picture, but steadily SAP is also coming up with different tool sets in coming years. So this is what is the current state of SAP's DevOps. Still, we have to hit a big ground where the things are happening manual and Solman into the play, right? So this is how at the moment SAP is. So the pain of no DevOps is, if you look at the typical screen here, it's everywhere. It's start from developer till end user, and still developer having tasks, but they are doing the repeated tasks. Since I could see there is no automated mechanism where they could really develop a code and check out the code, and there is no framework available which can automatically do the unit test, or if any development piece fails, developer can be notified. So most of the time developer tasks are pretty repetitive, and this challenge goes everywhere, not only developers, operational side also. The pain of if no DevOps is in place, project manager always look forward for the insufficient cost and insufficient project and failures and delays. And again, system administrators as well. If I take a typical example, like if any ESP upgrade project comes in, right, the main challenge is retrofit, wherein a global rollout is happening, or you are doing the ESP upgrade where you need N+1 landscape. But the main challenge is to retrofit the ongoing changes with the N+1 landscape or maintenance landscape. So you will get answer of this question in subsequent discussions where Niranjan will come into play. But these are the typical challenges, and even testing aspects of it. I mean, at the moment, test automation is one side where really, and it should come into the play, whether SAP, though SAP is coming up with the different partners, like Tascentis is coming into the play. So still there are gaps, and it's everywhere. Like QA is bit manual, and end result is, end user is not pretty satisfied with the entire stack what we have. So to cover that up, we are coming up with a ROI calculator that we are going to cover in this session. So I would like to hand over the session to the Niranjan now. So he'll walk you through on the ROI calculator and HCLs and ReleaseOwl's strategic partnership and all these facts. So over to you, Niranjan.
I appreciate that, Kapil. Thank you for taking time today. And as always, HCL has been a great strategic partner for us in terms of the rich customer base and probably the largest SAP partner around for the SAP implementations. I sincerely appreciate you taking time to share the customer insights. And as I shift to my slides, probably I'll take 30 seconds of your time, just launching a quick poll. And we'll just, I'll move on to my slides. Probably we'll take 30 seconds. It won't take more than that. Yeah, there's 4 questions, probably. Yeah, we'll just give a few more seconds for everyone. I see a lot of people filling it up. Probably I'll give another minute or so. That will help us in terms of the pulse of SAP DevOps for those who have attended today. So 75% done. So I'll just give probably another 15 seconds. Kindly finish last 10 seconds. I'm ending the poll right now. Thank you very much. So yeah, just setting the context. So Kapil has been talking about the importance of DevOps and the pain of not having DevOps, where multiple divisions, it's not just a problem of devs or ops, it's about the entire life cycle, the teams involved in the entire life cycle, all the way from development to the end user struggle when you don't have a system in place. So that is where my next few slides will be focused on how do we quantify okay, we know the importance of DevOps. What next? It is about now quantifying it in a way that we can present to the leadership teams on the value and importance and gaining the budgets as we get into 2023. There are multiple ways to calculate the ROI. So I will go through the approach that we have taken, and then we have a customer case study to run that particular inputs and get the ROI calculation. And I believe that should be in sync with your numbers as well. So those who want to say, how do we approach DevOps? I always believe in three aspects: automate, integrate, orchestrate. Automate is about understanding each and every manual step that is in the entire process, right from a requirement is entered into your Jira or ServiceNow Agile or Azure DevOps, to all the way the change is in production successfully signed off by the end users. So it is important to identify those manual steps and put in as much as automation as possible into the developer side. Bring it shift left. That is why I always advocate spending time with several DevOps teams across the globe. Is don't just give responsibility to your developers, but give them power. The power comes with tools. So, and automate the packaging, deployments, ensure the dependencies are all verified, automate your tests, and all the way to the provisioning of the entire environments. Then you have integration. Integration is now you have done bits and pieces automation. Now start connecting them together. Now have Jira integrated into your practice, and then have ServiceNow integrated into your practice. So when you integrate systems, collaboration will be more. It is not that developer has to sit, go do something else in Jira and come back, go do something else in ServiceNow, come back, and then maintain some spreadsheet somewhere and then talk to the ops team for some deployment. So integrate. And the third is for me, orchestration. Orchestration, I would call it as automation at scale. Now imagine a system where a user story is entered into Jira, followed by developer gets a notification, developer starts working, he creates a transport, then submits, does the validation, submits for approval, and then once it is approved by CAB, then deploys to prod. Imagine this entire workflows, approval process, automation all together. That is what is the real solid state of DevOps that you can have. So how do you start measuring these metrics? There are multiple metrics that are around, but I always look at DORA metrics as one of the benchmarks. So one is deployment frequency. So the moment you have a requirement assigned to a developer, to when he or she gets the change deployed in production. So how many times, that is what I call the entire life cycle. Now, how many times are you doing deployments in the year? This is your deployments frequency. Like Metas of the world does multiple deployments per day, but high, one deployment per week. Medium, 1 to 6 months. I have seen SAP customers doing yearly deployments. Take nothing away. That is where we started ReleaseOwl. Then we started talking to customers on, do you really need DevOps? Why DevOps for us? We deploy once in the year. I said, okay, thank you. There's not much to talk, but then we realized education is a very important aspect to let people understand when SAP is moving from ECCs to S4s to BTP, which is a SaaS platform, all the way from on-prem to a SaaS platform where the customers expect to release every week or every day. That's what modern development platforms demand. And that is when tools like ReleaseOwl are more than important, more than ever. Then change failure rate. This is a metric which is very easily measurable. You pick up release and see number of transports that are going in, number of changes. I mean, it changes in a transport. and how many P0, P1s are coming up. That gives the change failure rate. And once, so lead time for change is the actual time it takes for my user story assigned to developer to when it is deployed in production. MTTR is when, if you have a critical failure, what does it take from the moment the incident is logged to the change going live in production? What is the time it takes? These are deployment frequency, lead time for change, MTTR, change failure rate. These are some of the most important metrics that you should start tracking. This is where this will define the, if you really want to scale, you know what should be your next benchmarks. So how do we approach DevOps ROI? In principle, most of the DevOps benefits we hear are intangible, like faster go-to-market or developer comfort. These are something that we always look at, but in business, we have to quantify. How is it impacting the overall revenue, overall business? So I have taken 3 parameters when we are calculating ROI DevOps. Number 1, with automation, you have savings. So manual operations in the context of SAP, be it releasing transports, validating transports, checking the dependencies, importing the transports, doing the transport of coffees, doing the retrofit, each of them is a manual operation. And then you have change control tasks, like a CAB approval or a QA manager approval, and then assigned to somebody for sanity test. You have a lot of change requests and approvals that happen for a particular change. And then you have and deployments fail, be it due to dependency issues, be it downgrade protection checks, or you have not included all the transports required, whatever is the reason, or versions mismatch, you get deployment or import failures. And that time you need to do rework. And rework takes effort, it's costly. So this is one aspect where we say, in calculating ROI for DevOps, one important factor is savings with respect to automation. Then once we have the savings, it is about reinvesting them into business. An average annual revenue of an employee, which is greater than 50 mil, which is, if you are implementing SAP, naturally it will fit here, is 230,000. This is what is the annual revenue of an employee. So if you are able to gain 1 employee or half an employee from your DevOps efforts, from your automation, that means you are directly multiplying that in terms of increasing the revenue. Suppose you gain half an employee with automation, you have 115K straight in as a revenue added to your business. Every hour that we save in automation can be invested to increase the overall business value. So my second aspect in terms of calculating ROI for DevOps is the reinvestment. And last and most important is downtime. Industry standard, just basic Google will give you that there are multiple types of downtimes as part of Gartner Forrester researches. In terms of critical application failure, that is what I am covering as part of from a SAP DevOps perspective. We are not looking at network downtime, IT downtime, or network crash or whatever. I am not considering the system crashes and all that. I'm talking about application failure that has resulted in outage for the end users. The average cost as per the industry standard is 500K. And how do we calculate the total cost of annual downtime for your SAP practice? Is the number of P0, P1 incidents that came on production into the time it takes for you to recover multiplied by this outage cost. So these are the 3 aspects that we will quickly move on into a calculator that we have built with some of these inputs by customers like you who are attending this session. And how did we ever, and what is it that DevOps is giving back to us? So I stop my sharing for a minute while I open my calculator. Meanwhile, please feel free to share your questions and in the chat or suggestions, and we will be happy to accommodate. I hope you are able to see the screen of our calculator. So the customer use case that we are talking about is a customer that has, we were very conservative. We did not want to go big bang with thousands of numbers and then show in a way. We want to keep it very, very grounded and little bit conservative so that it will resonate with most of your teams. If you look at these numbers, most of the participants should relate to this. Okay, this is very close to what we are doing. So they have a team of 10, and then they have a team of a release manager who takes a basis administrator taking care of deployments. They have one SAP landscape. There are 4 systems in the landscape, and they do 26 releases in the year. I mean, they have bi-weekly. And average, the number of transports that they deploy to production is roughly around 1,000. This is the inputs that we have taken. And then we have also asked the customer in terms of how many P0, P1s you get. So average, it was 10. And they mostly fix it on the same day. So once even they get a P0, in 8 hours on an average, they resolve that issue. And we asked them how many typical change control tasks are there in one transport lifecycle from development to prod, including QA approvals, UAT approvals, CAB approvals, CCB approvals. So they have around 15 change control tasks. And the number of steps, the number of manual actions like transport operations, config changes, they have around 20 for a particular change to move from development to prod. And we have taken 15 seconds as an industry average for each of these in the calculation. So what we get here, real quick, I'll go to the summary. It is more glittering, but it is also important that you know how we get to the summary. So the average cycle time is the time taken for a change from requirement to production. So they have 26 releases. So we get this average and 4 systems, we get this back. And this is 86. This is per system. So they're spending 21 hours, 21 days. A change is staying in one system, 21 hours, sorry. This is some reference data that we have taken. The cost of a development member, including the benefits, 401k and all that together is 90. And DevOps resources, a little bit expensive, have taken 120. And these are something that I've talked about. So the deployment frequency, because they do 26 releases in the year, we marked number of releases in the year is 26. Lead time for change, 86 hours. That is what it is on an average. It is taking for 1,000 transports going in 26 releases. So the lead time for change, mean time for restore is taken directly from customer. They take 8 hours to restore after a critical failure. And the change failure rate is 1 because they have 1,000 transports being deployed and they gave 10 hot fixes. So it is change failure rate is 1%. And in terms of the number of hours, the total time that they spent in approvals is 62 hours. The total time that they spent on manual steps is 83 hours. And they have an average of 10 transport failures during a release. And that means it is leading to 260 failed deployments. And this is the total rework time that they're spending in. So the total amount of time that they spend with these, I call them inefficiencies, be it rework or manual activities, repetitive activities, and approval, tracking these approvals. Now, bring that in 1,000 hours into the average salary. The cost savings that we get is 90K. That is the savings from inefficiencies if we automate those things. Now, imagine these 1,000 hours are brought back into business. 1,000 hours, we know 2080 is a total number of hours for a resource. So we have half a resource here that DevOps has given back to the company to build more value, build more revenue. So that comes to 111K. And in terms of downtime, the calculation change failure rate 1%, MTTR 8 hours into 500K is this. And this is the value of DevOps driven development. When you have strong DevOps driven development, this is what is given back to the company. Let's quickly look at the summary to give more perspective. So this is the same inputs. So customer at 26, we call them high performer. Not many customers have 26 releases per year. We appreciated the customer. Lead time for change, 83 hours, considering that they're releasing in 2 weeks. That means 80 hours. Then change failure rate, 1%, MTTR 8. So still they are elite performers, and even MTTR, they are high performers, considering the industry averages and DORA metrics. But they can be more agile in terms of their deployments, and the time taken for go to market is still high. They can do better. So I have talked about savings from inefficiencies, increase in revenue, total cost of downtime. Altogether, what is achieved is the value of DevOps driven development is this. Now, how do we calculate the payback and ROI? So for that, we need to spend on what does it take? DevOps won't come straight away. You need to invest to build the DevOps practice. So assessments and roadmap, this is where the journey will start to understand where we are and where we need to go. And licensing for software, like ReleaseOwl or any other tool, you need to have software license. DevOps team, typically, those who are starting DevOps practice, I'd recommend 1:10. After a year, when practice sets in and teams understand DevOps mindset and most of these static code analysis and all that automated, we can make it 1:15 or even 20 as teams mature. And then training, coaching in terms of the tooling, in terms of agile practices. So the investment comes to 300K, 382K to be very specific. And the payback period is 33 days. If you have seen those numbers, if you see that you are all deploying, say, 1,000 transports in the year, I'm not talking about a company, one of the construction software companies, that they deploy around 6,000 transports in the year. These numbers will change. I've taken very conservative 1,000 transports in the year with a team of 10, which should resonate with most of you. And the payback that actually is 33 days. And the investment return is 9.99. So you have an ROI of 10x in the first year. Now, when you go to second year, this number changes, 1:15, 1:20. Or if your team is self-sufficient, they run it by themselves, then this completely can go away. There is no assessments will go away, training go away, only the software license cost will remain. Now you can see how will the ROI change in second and third years as teams get more and more matured. And this is only for packaging, deployments, and approvals and the release process. I have not added the importance of test automation in this, just not to overcomplicate this session. And we will do another session which is similar to this in near future on calculating the ROI for test automation. We have tools like HCL has a great tool, OneTest, which has a deep integration with ReleaseOwl. Then there are tools like Tricentis, which are in the market, and we have integration with them as well. So that's a separate conversation, but I have not scoped it. This is more focused on the CI/CD part of it. Just going back at this point of time, if there are any questions or if I missed something or if there are any suggestions, I will be happy to have them. Just shifting back to conclude, we have probably 9 minutes left, and then just shifting back to so to achieve whatever we have spoken about, the importance of DevOps tooling, and ReleaseOwl comes as one of those native DevOps platforms that you can use for your SAP, whether it is ECC or S/4HANA, BTP, and CPI applications. We are on SAP Store. We are built on SAP, built for SAP. This is the tool chain where you can have more integrated. So you can see here the requirements backlog, Jira, ServiceNow, Azure DevOps, version control, ABAP Git, GitLab, GitHub, then code inspector, ABAP unit, BPCA, ABAP test cockpit. And for test automation, you have HCL one test, Triton test, you have Selenium. So be it plan, code, build, test, deploy, release, and monitor. ReleaseOwl has out-of-the-box integrations with these tools that you see here. So how does it look like when all of them play together? So Jira, user stories are assigned to developer creates transports, works on the changes, and then perform. ReleaseOwl has a transport impact analysis feature, which runs ABAP unit tests, code coverage, dependency checks, downgrade protection checks, and then gives the feedback whether this change is good to go. And then the peer review is done on all the reports. Instead of peers or team leads spending time doing these things, you have a report that gets generated and a task assigned for lead to automatically review it. And lead can focus on, or reviewer can focus on the results, and then challenge the team to go much deeper in terms of writing better code. And if they fail, it will go back to developer. If they pass, then we'll go to the QA phase, wait for the approvals from QA team. Automatically, it will deploy after the approval. And then with tools like HCL one test, automated functional tests are run, bug analysis is done. Every time each step is being done, it will be written back to Jira so that your agile teams can look at what is happening for this particular user story. Who created transport? What is the validation results? What is the deployment results? What are the test automation results? Where is it currently? Everything will be written back to Jira in a bidirectional sync. And once QA is done, next raise a change control approval, CCB approval in ServiceNow. And if once it is approved in ServiceNow, automatically ReleaseOwl will listen to that response and trigger the deployment into prod. After that, you have these general audit reports that come out and for sign-offs, and the Jira story will be closed. So this is what I mean by automate, integrate, and orchestrate to really ensure that our mission is simple. SAP release management is like any other release management. Your IT teams, who is today, should be able to run it like a sprint, a practice, not keeping SAP changes, everything SAP separate. DevOps outcomes, we know this is not our numbers. This is the standard state of DevOps report 2022 on how elite performers have really changed the way they work, changed the way they have go to market, the collaboration, the stability, resilience, and reliability, how it has impacted their business and their software. I think some of you have challenge with the. So do you see the screen better?
Yeah.
Okay. And finally, to sign off, we have success community. We are not just building a great platform. ReleaseOwl is building a great success community. So you can be part of this. There will be product documentation, academy, certifications. You have a lot of discussions, and our online product documentation is online, and our help desk is online. So if this is, I hope this session is useful to you. And as we are signing off on time, if any of you wish to explore the business case, we are happy to have a free discovery session. And this will also be, we are still working with a couple of other customers and SAP to fine tune this. And this will be also made available on the ReleaseOwl success community, probably in a couple of weeks from now. So we have 3 minutes left, and I'll be happy to take some questions. We have 3 minutes left. Okay. So for the BTP, those who are on BTP and CPI, ReleaseOwl is completely SaaS platform. You can pretty much, and we have a playground. You can pretty much, sign up in the browser, register your sub account, and then just play around. Be it from your Git deployments, or you want to version your iFlows, you want to see backup and rollback. Even we have unit test generator for CPI. So for ECC S/4HANA, register your domain controller with the app with ReleaseOwl, or we give self-hosted playgrounds where we have, if somebody wants to experience the platform, we give them, including the SAP system, so that they can play around and experience the product. Success community, yeah, we will have workshops starting in second week or third week of Jan, where we will have a detailed workshop, a 2-hour workshop, hands-on on the product, while giving access to workshop participants, followed by certifications will be completely free in Q1. So if you are willing to be part of upskilling, get more and more into DevOps. So we will announce workshops and you can participate. It is absolutely free for Q1 2023. Any last question that I can take? Yeah, we can work on the discovery. Just reach out to us and we will have a quick 30-minute session. We can enter your inputs and we will be able to generate the report. And that you can present back. Yeah, it will be absolutely free. You can just write to us to have this discovery and we will be happy to assist. As I told, ReleaseOwl is not just a great platform, but we are here to build a great community. Okay, on this note, we are on time. I sincerely appreciate you joining today. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Niranjan, for having such a nice session.
Yes. Thank you, Kapil. Thank you very much. Thank you, audience. Happy holidays.
Thank you.